Hey everybody, welcome back to the Forge. So today we're going to start a new project. I'm going to be making a Damascus skinning knife out of some 1084 and 15 and 20. So these are my two, they're 3-foot pieces of 1/8 inch thick, 2-inch or 1.5 inch wide bar stock of 1084 and 15 and 20. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these into 2-inch pieces, 2-inch strips. Get them pretty close and we'll cut them on the chop saw. Get them close, weld them up, clean them up a little bit, and then go ahead and get the forge started, and we can get a little bit of a montage of me getting stuff made and put together. So I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll talk to you in just a minute. So we've got our 15 and 20, and 15 and 20 and 1084 cut into roughly 2-inch pieces, probably more like 2.5 and a couple that are off, but there's 4 of each, so that'll be an 8-stack, 8-layer count billet. So when we go into forge weld, we'll do our just setting weld, getting everything stuck together, and then we'll go in on our diagonals and turn it pretty much completely 90 degrees from its original. It's either 90 or 180. I think it's 180 degrees from its original orientation. Is what we're going to turn that pattern on, and it'll give us some C's and then W's on each set of those that we do. And then down here is kind of what I had thought out for all the W's, but it's actually backwards in that drawing. So the W's will actually look like a flower running through there, if that makes any sense. So I'm getting it locked into the vise here. I went ahead and cut the ends off with the chop saw, just to get rid of that nasty leftover material. So we've got the ends chopped off. As you can see, the pattern is kind of running in this lateral direction. Instead of doing what we had drawn out here, my billet wasn't thick enough, wasn't stacked thick enough or long enough for me to do that. So what I opted for is what you saw, me trying to spin this. I spun it clockwise until it was all wrapped around each other. It was probably 2 or 3 full rotations. It was pretty thick when I did it, so it kind of left some little marks, but these have ground out all those little lines, crack lines, what it looks like right there, and there's probably one right there, right there, and right there. All those have ground out. So what I'll do is I'll take and cut it in half and flip this over, and this will give us 2 alternating patterns. So we'll have one pattern running in this direction like this, and then we'll have the other pattern running like this along the other edge. So it'll give us more of a kind of a feather looking, like we drove something in here, but it'll give us that wavy pattern down the whole thing in opposite directions. So maybe you'll get some little bursts of different types of Damascus pattern there, but what we're gonna do now is just get all the surfaces cleaned, make sure we grind out any cracks in this little billet that we've got here, or any inclusions that we can see, and then we're going to flip it in one direction, just cut one piece off and flip it straight over, tack that up, and then get it back in the forge for the second heat and the second forge weld, and that'll be where we go ahead and do the knife, forge out the rest of the knife. Hey everybody, it's a new day. Ended up getting caught up with a bunch of stuff last night, and going out to eat with an old friend, and trying to get some stuff together for a wedding shower that we've got going on. So we actually just went inside last night and left this piece in the vise. But as you can see, we kind of thinned this down a lot, trying to chase those cracks out, which is fine. It's not a big deal. We can still forge weld it together, but we are pretty much ready to go. I left this side bare, so what I'll actually probably end up doing is cutting it in half, flipping it over, so this bare side will stay together as kind of a reference area. And then when we forge this out, we're going to give ourselves a little bit more room. Say like this is our rough side down here. We're gonna forge this out in this direction a little bit more than we normally would, because I didn't actually, I can't get that back in there, whatever. I didn't actually grind all of the cracks out, but looking at this side, the cracks are a lot smaller and will be a lot thinner when we forge it out and make it kind of bring the blade down. And so when we go to shape, we can just take those, we can just cut those out of there, grind those out of there, and it'll make it look so much better. So we finished up forging. So I got it relatively flat. I think this bar is a little warm for me to grab onto, but you can kind of see it in there. Got it relatively flat, pretty straight. So right now I'm just gonna let it anneal. That way when we go in to do all of our cutting. So on this one, instead of forging to finish, we're actually going to cut to finish because of the pattern being in there. Probably going to distort the pattern a little too much. But that way, when we cut to finish, we can give it a little bit more detail than forge to finish. And that pattern kind of stays the same throughout the whole blade. It looks really, really good. You can see it through the forged scale, the pattern coming out. So it looks good. I'm really kind of excited for this one. So we're gonna wait for this to anneal. We're gonna go sit down, eat some lunch, kind of hang out, and then probably come back after this is cooled off and start on the layout of the knife to see kind of what we're thinking. So I will see you when this whole thing cools off. So kind of want to show you what I've got here. So we've got the bar. It's not too thin. It's actually pretty close to final dimension. We just gotta flatten it up a little bit, which I'll do that on my 2x42. So just getting all the scale off, or most of it, so that I can get it flattened up. And then after I get it flattened up, I kind of finally decided on a design. It's not a traditional skinning knife, but it's gonna work the same. Most traditional skinning knives have just a real kind of come down to a point, and they're on a constant curve. This edge will be on a constant curve. It just won't have that traditional look. So it'll be more usable in like day-to-day life, instead of just being purposely only for skinning. It'll work really, really well for skinning, but we want to keep that way of utility in most of my knives. So we keep the utility aspect into it as well as the skinning. So so we finished up a lot of the surface grinding. We still got to go up 2 grits, so a lot of this surface pitting will come out. There's nothing there that I'm really worried about that's too deep. We still got to cut it down quite a bit. We're still pretty thick up here in the spine, and then we've also got to do bevels, so that's gonna help me get a lot of those out. But I think I'm gonna end it here for today's video. Stay tuned. Part 2 of building the skinning knife, Damascus skinning knife, will come out hopefully sometime this week. But thank you all for watching. I hope you liked. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you on the next video.